So I watched the video Time for School, and some things that really impressed me were just the differences in cultures, like in Afghanistan compared to Japan, where the schools were being attacked by the Taliban, and in Japan, the school system actually was becoming lessened because they would go to school 6 days a week, so they changed it to five. I think so they won't have school on Saturdays now, but because Japan's school system is rated, it's like one of the top five in the world, but they feel like it's dropping because they have stopped going to school on Saturday. And in Afghanistan, the young woman they follow around, Shugufah, wants to go to school, but there's 13 members in her family, so she has to go to school, and then she comes home and has to do the chores that are assigned to her to do for that day to help her mom out. And I guess it's an Afghani culture to not, like the women and girls don't really go to school, and the men kind of stay at home, or they work, but they don't do household chores. So she has to be able to go to school and study, and then do the chores that she's assigned at home with her mother. Also, the school is super strict on their security system because they have to search the students, because it's a boys and girls school. They have to search the students' backpacks and items because they're afraid that there might be bombs in there. And recently, there was 80 girls that were poisoned by the Taliban that went to school, and violence is spiking against education for the girls. And then in Brazil, the boy they follow, Jefferson, he lived in a favela, which is just like a ghetto or a really poor part of that city, out of that province. And Brazilian children are the poorest in the world. And Roshina, where he lived, is a war zone, and it's being taken over by drug lords, the government, and a militia. So boys who don't end up staying in school either start into drugs, or they become drug dealers, or they go to war. Oh, and the women there, or the young girls, they most likely drop out of school and become whores. But nearly every child is enrolled in school because of a new policy that was put in place, so they don't have to pay for school themselves. But they enroll them when they're little, but then they have the option of dropping out when they're older. So in Brazil, 2 out of 3 kids drop out by 8th grade. And then in India, at least where Neeraj was from, the woman they followed, she was in northwest India, and girls marry young and do housework and labor. So school isn't emphasized. It's a big comparison compared to the United States, where school is forced, and you can get in legal trouble if you do not enroll your child into school, compared to other countries where it's kind of put on the back burner and it's not emphasized because there are other priorities that have to do, and they're important ones, because if you don't do certain chores, then that means that you won't be able to eat for that day or for that week. So, in Indian culture, at least what the video said was that boys don't do the work, they just play. So, again, the girls would have to go to school, and then they would have to come home and do the housework. But in this case, the girls would do all the housework in the morning till very late at night, and then go to school at night, so they'd have night school. And that was supposed to help the children transition into day school, but in her case, not enough kids were going, so they canceled the school at all.